and welcome to the bakingmad.com kitchen. I'm going to show you how to make jam donuts. So I've got 225 grams of strong bread flour, and to that I'm going to add 1 sachet or 2.5 teaspoonfuls of easy bake yeast and a tablespoonful of golden caster sugar. Give that a quick stir, and then to that 125 mils of hand hot water. You need it to be hot to touch but not boiling, but it needs to be warm to get the yeast activated. 15 grams of melted butter and 1 egg, and that will help make a nice rich dough. And basically you just bring all of that together to make a nice soft dough. It's easy to do this in a mixer if you want to with a dough hook, and it will take about 5 minutes to knead, or you can do it by hand. Give it a quick knead in the bowl, and then you can tip it out onto your work surface and bring it together. It is quite a soft dough. You want it to be soft because you want a nice, rich, soft donut. If you're doing it by hand, it will take a good 10 minutes. Now once your dough is nice and smooth and elastic, then you can shape it. Now it's a good idea just to put a little bit of flour on your hands and then just shape it into a sausage, as we're going to cut it into 8 pieces to make 8 donuts. So I've got an oiled baking tray, and I'm going to cut this into 8 equal pieces to make 8 donuts. So to make your donuts, take 2 balls of dough. You can do 1 at a time, but I like to do 2. Cup your hands, pop your hands over the dough and just roll gently. And this is the same if you're making bread rolls, and you'll get 2 perfectly even shaped doughs. So once you've got your donuts on the baking tray, you need to leave them to rise covered with oiled cling film. This keeps the draft out, and must be oiled, otherwise it will stick to the dough. And you need to leave that somewhere warm until they've doubled in size. You want them nice and pillowy. That can take anything from half an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how warm your kitchen is. But I say, just let them at least double, and then we're going to fry them in hot oil. As you can see, the donuts have now beautifully risen. So peel off your cling film. And you need to have a pan of hot oil, and to test when the oil is hot enough, just take a tiny piece of the dough, and when it hits the oil, the dough should sizzle and rise to the top almost immediately, and then you know it's the right temperature. Lift up the donuts very carefully and just drop 1 or 2 at a time into the oil, being really careful not to get your fingers in the oil, of course, because it's boiling hot. If you prefer, use an oiled spoon. Now don't overcrowd the pan. You only want to cook 1 or 2 at a time, because otherwise the temperature of the oil will drop and they'll go soggy. You want them to bubble and sizzle and cook as soon as the donuts hit the oil. Then once they've cooked for a couple of minutes on one side, turn them over with a slotted spoon to cook on the other side. Again for another minute or 2 until they're nice and golden brown. Just going to lift them out onto kitchen paper to absorb the fat. Once your donuts are cooked, then you can toss them in caster sugar, and we're going to fill them with jam. Yummy. Give them a good coating, caster sugar. So just to fill them with jam, just poke the bag of jam into the centre and squeeze. So, really simple. Be a bit forceful, and then you can feel the doughnut filling up with jam. So there you have it, beautiful, gooey, jammy doughnuts.